Hi, welcome back to the Wisdom of Your Soul. I'm Janice Mary, your host, and I'm so glad you're back with us. This is my YouTube channel talking about how we can move out of the mind and into our soul energy. My work as a psychotherapist, I've always been searching to help people, help myself, to just be able to enjoy your life more, for me to be able to enjoy my life more. And after I had an amazing experience connecting to the soul energy, your spirit energy, or the energy that lives within you, it definitely changed my life. And since then, I have been trying to find ways to help people connect to this energy within, because it is so life-changing and so beneficial, and helps you really to realize the limits that the mind really does impose on us. So it's a beautiful experience to connect to your soul energy, and it is a beautiful spiritual support system for all of us, and it lives right within us. So we have all the answers for all of our issues and problems right within, and we don't even realize it. And a lot of times we forget to consult it. We do consult our mind very regularly, and it's very easy for us to consult our mind. We're human, and we're just used to thinking. And my work as a psychotherapist, being very, very analytical, that's where I was at in my thoughts for most of my life. And that's not really a pleasant place to be. It can make you very, very anxious. And when you believe your thoughts, which most of us do, because our thoughts feel like such a part of us. As a special guest coming in here, Blue, my cat. They really do feel like who we are. And it's not until we have our experiences to realize, to break us free from our mind and our thoughts and our ego, when we have these experiences that bring us out of the mind, then we get this incredible gift of a difference in being. And this difference is life-changing. It doesn't mean that you still don't have to work on moving out of your thoughts. You do. I mean, I still do have to question my thoughts and let them go. And it's not an instant thing. When I had my spiritual experience, it was pretty instant. I did feel nothing but the abundance and love that lives within us. But then in time, that does dissipate. So you are back in this world. So you really do need a way to cope with and figure out a way to release the mind in a more natural way. And so that's really been my goal, is to help people, help my clients, help myself to keep releasing the mind, to keep, looking at each thought that comes in and deleting it. Because basically, the thoughts that you think about yourself generally, 99.9% of them are negative. A friend of mine, Karen, had shared a post with me on Facebook, and it said the heaviest burdens are our thoughts and our mind. And it was a picture of this statue with this very big head, like fallen over. And that is so true. We can handle a lot that happens in our lives, but we can't handle the thoughts that we have about what happens to us in our lives and the fear that we create within. We're really good at creating very fearful movies that we play and watch all day long. And, a lot of my clients will do that. They come in with all kinds of different fearful movies. A movie about them getting sick, or a movie about how their spouse is going to leave them, or how they're not going to have enough money. So these movies, these dramas that we play in our heads, generally do not come true. And we prove to ourselves most of the time that our fears don't come true. But we don't take notice of that. We don't say, oh, wow, I had a fear that the opposite was going to happen. And really the reality was much kinder. And the reality was that did not happen. So I know I have proven myself wrong probably so much more than I've proven myself right. But what happens in the mind is that the one time that a negative thought might come true, we hold on to that. And it's not a good practice for us. So if we just realize we have to trash the whole system, that our mind is great for thinking and problem solving and doing our bills and reading and the daily functions of life. But when it comes to evaluating ourselves and other people, that it doesn't really have anything nice to say. And it's very tricky because a lot of people will say, well, I'm my own best friend and I'm good, but yet they seem very unhappy to me. So I know that there's something going wrong there. If you're really good and you're your own best friend, why do you seem so agitated all the time and upset? So we really have to catch it. And so what I have found really helps is that if you're really thinking, supportive thoughts about yourself and you really feel pretty confident and you're pretty good within yourself, you have to be mindful of what you think about other people. Because what you think about other people is just a form of what you think about yourself. So if you're very critical with other people, you're really being critical with yourself. So you want to challenge that and say, oh my goodness, I'm okay with me, but I'm criticizing everybody left and right. So that we have to work on. Any time we engage in thoughts that are attacking ourselves or other people, it's the same thing. It's just a projection of what we think about ourselves. So if I attack, anybody in my life, it's really the things that I don't like about myself and the things that I wish I could change, that I'm just seeing in another person. So that person is giving me the benefit of holding up a mirror in front of them. So when we really sink into that knowledge and really understand that, then we can really see why we're not feeling so good, because we do not feel very good when we talk about ourselves badly, and we don't feel good when we talk about other people badly. So I'll ask people, well, you might be right about thinking this about this other person. You might be right, but how does it feel being right about this? And how would you feel if somebody was thinking this about you? And again, we can't control our thoughts. It's not about controlling our thoughts. It's just about seeing, how ridiculous they are and how, they're so perfectionistic and they're so harsh, and there's not a lot of room for gray areas in our thoughts. So the whole system of thought really has to just be challenged. You can't just erase your thoughts and you can't stop them from coming. It's like from the day we were born, our mind records everything that we think, see, hear, feel, and then kind of uses that throughout our lives as kind of like a form of a reference for us. So, but sometimes these references that our mind creates are really off. So we always have to challenge what we're thinking, especially if what we're thinking is putting ourselves down or putting another person down. Because when you move away from your thoughts, when you move out of thought and you're just in your normal everyday life, you can feel different, you can feel better. So even if you don't resonate with the whole soul spiritual thing, it's fine. Use another word, your intuition, or the wise person inside of you. There is another person within you to consult, and there's another energy within you to consult and talk to about your life and what's going on. The mind is always going to be quick to judge and quick to put somebody down. But if you ask this different place inside of you, if you just meditate for a second, just close your eyes and in the shower, just ask a question, you're going to hear from a different source, and that's the source that you want to reach more and more for, and that's the source that will tell you how perfect your life is and how abundant your life is, and all the great things about your life, and how perfectly our life unfolds for us, even when things are not going according to our plan. It's very, very easy for us to accept things and to accept our lives when things are going the way we want them to go. But the minute they don't go the way that we want them to go, we start resisting life. And in that resistance is really stress. So that's all that stress is resistance. It's a resistance to our lives. So the more we can just accept that whatever is happening is meant to be happening for you, there's this beautiful acceptance of life. And when you are in that mindset, it's very easy to release those thoughts and just sink into your life, and then to feel into this energy and to feel into your soul energy when you really are not taking your thoughts so seriously. You can really just kind of move away from them. So that's really, really helpful. We're also going to talk about the magic, the book, The Magic. We've been doing the workbook, and we've been doing the exercises. So today, I believe we're on number 13, it is. And it's such a great exercise. So what Rhonda Byrne suggested to do was to think about somebody in your life that changed your life, somebody that said something good to you, somebody that encouraged you. So it could be a teacher, it could be a friend, it could be anybody. And someone that just really touched you, someone that saw you through more of their spirit eyes and not so much from that critical ego. So the people that really encourage us in our lives, the people that really see us, are in those moments really connected to that soul energy. And you can tell because when you're in the ego energy, there's not room for compliments. There's not a lot of room for encouraging people. When you're in that soul energy, when you're in that good energy, you can be like everybody else's mentor and champion because there's no competition. There's no jealousy. There's just a feeling of oneness. So I do believe those people, in those special moments when they were encouraging you, have, connected to their energy. You could tell there's something different either about them during that time or just about them during that conversation, that something was different, and that they really saw the real you and who you really were. So that's why it really stops us in our tracks when somebody compliments us in a way that feels very authentic and feels true. Like, wow, this could be true about me. This feels true about me. So her suggestion for today is to thank those people, to take a moment and think about who they are, whether like it was a teacher, a friend, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever, and just thank them for all their support and their guidance, and really feel into that energy. And again, that thanking, gratitude, that energy that you move into when you're talking, doing a gratitude practice is really your soul energy. We make it too complicated. It's not that difficult. All you have to do is say thank you all day long, and you'll go naturally into more of your soul energy, because that's the energy that our soul does live in. It lives in the energy of gratitude and love. So anytime you move into love or gratitude, you're not going to be in your ego mind. And really, that's the key. That is the key. So anytime these practices tell us to do mantras or to say thank you, it's just another way for us to move away from the thinking mind and towards something that is much, much more supportive. I call the soul our spiritual support system that many of us don't know is there. It's like it can be an invisible support system until it becomes visible. And what you want to do is make it visible for you. And the way that you do that is to first know that it's there, and to know that what you think about yourself and other people, if it's hurtful, stressful, painful, if it is anything other than love and support and gratitude, that it's not of you, it's of the mind. And again, that can be a relief, because a lot of people do think their thoughts are them. And if they think that these horrible thoughts are them, they really feel like horrible people. I see a lot of my clients that feel so guilty for what they think. And I used to feel the same way too, like, oh my God, I'm horrified by my thoughts sometimes. Why are these horrible thoughts coming in? And it's really just the mind doing its crazy thing. Like a nightmare at night, we don't hold ourselves responsible for a nightmare, but we hold ourselves very responsible for what we think in the daytime. even though we can clearly see our thoughts just emerge, they just kind of seep up, and we kind of listen to them and watch them, and if we're horrified by them, then we know that we're not them. It's like somebody else talking to us in our mind, that knows us, but that is really not in our best interest. I don't feel like the ego mind, our minds are out to get us or anything like that. Our ego minds really are here to protect us and help us, but they just go a little bit too far. So really the challenge is for all of us to not listen to them, just not listen to them. And when you don't listen to them, it's an amazing difference in your life. And that could also be, the thoughts that come up, and then what you do when those thoughts do come up. So a thought might come up, and then what we add to them, is terrible. We edit ourselves all day long. We have conversations with ourselves all day long that are negative and draining and scary. So no wonder why we're fearful. No wonder why we're not doing well. So we have to be very diligent about what we're talking to ourselves about, what we're believing about ourselves, and to just challenge it. And even if you don't believe that you're like a really good person, even if it's hard for you to believe, just believe that the thoughts that come into your mind are not true. And if all those thoughts were gone, if all those stressful thoughts were gone, how would you feel and what would you be doing? And then go do that. It's just as simple as that. The minute we realize that we do not have to live by these thoughts, that we can live in a different way, the easier it is for us. So it is really a beautiful gift to give ourselves when we move out of the ego mind and back into this soul energy. So, pay attention today and really follow your thoughts and see where they're getting the best of you. And just remember, how many times have you thought these thoughts? How many times have you went over this topic in your mind, whether it's about your kids or it's about money or it's about your job? How many times you're complaining the same complaints over and over again? If we wrote down every day the content of our thoughts, it would really be the same, almost the same verbatim conversation. And if we look at that conversation, most of it's negative. 99.9% of it is negative. So we want to really change the conversation that we're having with ourselves and look towards jumping into our soul energy. And the way we do that are like books from Abraham Hicks and Rhonda Byrne and Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie. Those are all the people that give us the roadway and the path to replacing how we edit as the day goes on. So instead of saying, here goes another horrible day, we could say, wow, here's a day. It's going to unfold. I'm excited for my day to unfold. I wonder what's going to happen today. And then just start off on your gratitude list, I'm so thankful for being alive. I'm so thankful for the people that have gotten me as far, have supported me. I want to thank them. I want to thank, that I have a roof over my head, and I want to thank that I have food. And, if we did that every day, we would just be living in that soul energy. So every time we thank somebody or something, we're moving away from the ego mind and we're moving towards that soul energy. And that's really where we want to be. We want to move away from the ego mind and into that soul energy, because once we get there, there's a lot of peace and there's a lot of gratitude and a humbleness and a knowing that we're all in this together and that nobody's bad. And you have the ability to see everybody's side, which is, an amazing thing. When I'm in the soul energy, I can see everybody's perspective. I can see how their ego mind works and how they have gotten to be where they are and why they think what they think. and how that doesn't benefit them, just like the way my perceptions do not benefit me. And when I challenge them, I can see how false they are and how they really don't belong anywhere, except, maybe giving me the roadmap back to me. If I am thinking a lot of negative thoughts about somebody, then whatever it is that I'm thinking about them is, if I turn that back towards myself, I could say, well, really, this is what I think about me. And that's a hard thing for us to accept. No, it's really about them. They did all these horrible things. But if you really scale it down, and if you really, take it off that person and just write down the things that really are bothering you, it's usually things that you really don't like about yourself, because if you like them, you wouldn't see them as a negative thing. And what the soul energy would tell you is that everything about you is beautiful. Even your faults are beautiful. There's nothing that is not beautiful about you. And in this energy, it's easy to practice gratitude because you're already in it. It's like you don't have to search for it. You're already in it. So there's always a few ways that you can get to it. You can get to it by trying to practice gratitude, and that will bring you into it. Or you can just kind of go into the soul energy, and then you start feeling grateful. And so it's no work, it's just you're sitting in gratitude. There's nothing that you have to do. There's nothing that you have to be. There's nothing you have to change. You're just okay as is. And, that is not something we hear often. We're very driven, motivated people wanting to do a lot in our lives. And that's the ego. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you take your soul with you on your journey, it's just a much, much more pleasant experience, because then you can support yourself as the day goes on. You can tell yourself what a great day you're doing. And your soul is right there, agreeing with you and not disagreeing. The ego is never, never satisfied, and the ego is never, never happy, and the ego always finds another problem. So there's really not a great ability to be settled there. But when you're in the soul energy, it's an amazing, peaceful, joyous place. And that's the place where when people are do their best. They do their best at work. They do their best creations. They write their best novels. They think of inventions. They paint beautiful pictures. They write beautiful poetry. When people are in that energy, you can really sense it. You know it. So you have all those gifts. You have many, many gifts inside of you that are just, looking to be explored. So we waste a lot of time, trying to get a hold of our minds and understand our minds. And, we don't have to do that, because it's just an endless, endless thing. The ego is never satisfied. So to find comfort in the ego is not going to be the way to go. We have to really release it for what it is, to value it, and then to say, all right, I'm not going to ever be comfortable in this mind, so I'm going to really let this go. And there are some ways I can let it go. I can let it go by meditating. I can let it go by reading some of these books and creating a new conversation with myself, by realizing every single time I think something bad about myself or anybody else, that the soul would never, never agree with that and does not agree with that. And you want to ask for the correction in a way. You want to ask, where did I go wrong in my thinking that has gotten me to this point? And can you help me see? So, when I have an issue or a problem and I'm thinking something bad about myself, I'll go into this energy and ask, what am I not seeing? Why am I seeing it this way? Why am I being so harsh with myself? And then usually I'll get an image or a picture of something else and a feeling of the real reason why I've gotten to that point. And given my life circumstances, it will make sense. And so given your life circumstances, it will make sense to you. So if you're being really tough on yourself about something and you don't want to be, and you can't let that go, you just want to kind of go into that energy. You want to say, okay, I'm not going to be able to think this into a better place. When we're in our thoughts and we're in that negative place and it's not good, we can't think through something that's going to make us feel better. It doesn't work. It's almost like we have to jump out of the mind and into this energy. And in that energy, you're going to find your answers. In your intuition, in where that wise person lives, that's where you find your answers. And you'll hear the same things that a lot of these teachers hear. You'll hear, the wisdom that a lot of people write about, and it'll come out of you, and you'll be surprised. Oh my goodness, how is this even coming out of me? But it does. So it's an amazing tool, and it's a great thing to just realize I am not my thoughts, and I'm much, much bigger than this little computer that lives in my head, and we're much more advanced, and we have much, much more to offer when we leave that little computer behind. It's very antiquated for who we really are, and it's really helpful to move out of it. So today, just remember, reflect on who has helped you in your life and those angels that have helped you on your path, and thank them, thank them for that. And just remember, those angels were in their soul energy. And, when you're in that energy, you're helpful to people too, and you're supportive, and you're free from criticism. When you have felt that, when you were talking to somebody and their well-being was just as important as yours. That's how you know you're in that energy. So we can just live in that energy. And a lot of people have mastered that. And once you master living in that energy, your life flows very easily. And because you don't really need anything, that's when you become very abundant. Things come to you very easily. Things flow to you. You don't have issues, with money or things that you may have had in the past, because you're not fighting life anymore. So all the gifts that are meant to come to you come to you. All the great things that are supposed to happen to you because you're no longer resisting life. You're flowing with life. And as you flow with life, all the gifts, that are our natural inheritance comes to us. So getting out of the thoughts really has amazing impact on your life. And, we don't do it to get things, but it's amazing how that does seem to happen. And it's almost, when you don't even need it anymore, because you're so fulfilled, you're so grateful, and you have so much, you don't really need anything. But that's when things do seem to flow into your life very easily, because you're in the energy of abundance. But we live in the energy of abundance. That's who we are. We all have this. We were all born with this, an incredible inheritance that we have yet to claim. So to claim your inheritance, you have to leave the mind behind and go to that place within you and ask for that second opinion on yourself and other people. Don't just get taken in by what your mind is saying. Don't believe it. You have to challenge it. You have to say, well, how do I know this is true? This thought, this belief that I have, how do I know any of this is true? This is just the world talking, and there's a much wiser person that lives within me. And let me ask that person, let me ask that voice for its opinion, because it's much, much different. And when you're living in that energy, you're going to feel such an amazing difference. So just remember, any thought that comes into your mind that is hurtful, stressful, negative, that wants to kind of bring you down or bring somebody else down, that is not a thought you want to hold on to and create from. You want to say, nope, I'm deleting these thoughts. I'm no longer believing anything bad about me. And I know this is going to take me a little time, but I can do it. I'm just not going to believe it for now. Let me just try it. I don't have to do it for the rest of my life if I don't want to, but let me just try and see how it goes. And when I do that, I'm going to feel such a difference. It's almost like when you don't have anything bad to think about anymore, you're just how you used to feel before you got so addicted to thinking. So you will feel how you felt like when you were young. You'll feel carefree. You'll want to play more. You'll want to do more. You want to hang out more. You want to listen more. You won't be so compulsed by what the ego drives us. It changes you in a big way. It allows you to be you, the authentic you. So, have a wonderful day. Start your day in gratitude. If you're not in gratitude, it's okay. Just accept your thoughts for where they are, knowing that none of them are true. So try to wake yourself up from that. Start there. These thoughts that I'm thinking that are negative about me or another person are not true, that there is another wise wisdom in me that knows the truth. And let me try to reach within that. Okay, so give that a shot. Have a beautiful, wonderful day full of gratitude and gifts, because that's what you deserve to have. Take care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.